NFL Straya, what a start it is each time. That's right, it is NFL Straya. I am your co-host, Jaymz Clements. I'm a guy. You can see me on the panel, the official NBL Supercoach show. You can see me on NBA Straya. What else? AFL Today. All the good stuff, I reckon. Here in the Sports Today studios, aka the Jaymz Clements Memorial Excellence in Podcasting Studios. And joining me on the other side of this here screen, not table, it is a bloke. He's a sometime singer called in a band called The Ramshackle Army. He is my mate. He is your mate. It's Fly Eagles Fly. Gazington. Gaz, what's going on?
I'm in a good mood, Jim. But no, I'm not in the studio today because I'm preparing to be corporate Gaz for the next 3 days. So I took a step out of that to talk about football. I'm going to a conference, being all like, pew, 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 close that deal. But right now it's talking about football, and it was fucking nuts.
Close that deal. Whips, KPIs, money, suits. It's all the good stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
But this is the NFL Straya Week 8 wrap-up show. We've got all the news. We've got Week 8 wrap, obviously. We've got YNRs, the weekly awards. We've got fantasy, the Week 9 picks as well. But this week was chaos, so we'll dig into that. It was very fun. All in one very seriously dumb NFL Straya package. Because, I don't know, it's episode 108 of this here show. Let's go! You're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're all fired. Oh, g'day, this is Aaron Rodgers, and you're listening to NFL Straya. All right, Gaz, a fun chaos week. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, it's weird because both of our teams won, which is quite literally only happens once this year, which was week 1. And I'm happy because the Pats beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Weird.
I don't want them to win games.
I know. How did both teams manage to lose that game?
but if they're going to win a game, beat the Jets, right? So anyway. But this is kind of it. So we always start the show off by what are we looking at? What was the news this week? And this week was upset week, chaos week. We got one of the great witching hours from the early slate of games. It was just chaos. Everywhere you turn, quite literally, Andrew Hansen is just like, I don't know where to go to this one. There's this one's happening. Oh, look at this. And we had just like Baltimore losing to Cleveland as that one flipped and turned in the last 2 minutes. The Cardinals with another walk-off field goal. They came from absolutely nowhere to win that as well. Jags tied up with Green Bay. Then Malik Willis and the Packers drive to win with a walk-off field goal as well. Houston leave Indy 1 minute. They couldn't get near it. That was a weird game. And then later on, Washington won on a Hail Mary, which was incredible. But I don't know. Did you hear this at all? And at any point, Gaz? It was National Tight End Day. Did you hear that?
Apparently. Every at the end of every game, it was just, oh, look at the tight ends. They're all just going and shaking heads. And Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce, you're going to send their jersey and look, they're going to be friends and mentor. Settle down, boys. Like,
I like that it's a thing.
Yep.
It's also, geez, we're being bashed over the head with it. We get it. It's like,
yep.
Chris Collinsworth, I don't know, Mike, you got these national tight end. I don't even know what was going on here, Mike. You got the purple. And you're like, all right, Chris Collins, like you're just laying it on thick. But it is cool that they've turned it into a thing. But the weirdest part was that it fucking worked. There was 17 tight end touchdowns, which is incredible.
Yep.
There's an amazing graph that has tracked like all the National Tight End Day tight end scoring as well. But the thing is, like for tight ends, just in general, the record in a single week is 22, and that was set back in 2015. So, and then on the weekend, they caught 177 passes, which is the most in the Super Bowl era for tight ends. So that's actually a bit weird that they kind of leaned into it.
Yep.
It was just a coincidence, I feel, but was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you had Kelce
in the play design.
Yeah, exactly. And you had enough stuff there for like all the tight ends. You had Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Kate Otten, Kittle, Brock Bowers, and Njoku, Trey McBride, Laporta, Brock Wright from Detroit, Tucker Kraft, Tyler Conklin. Evan Ingram had a sick one late, nearly won him the game. Gesicki had one against your boys. Nate Adkins. I'm like, who is he? And he's on Denver. He had Adam Trautman as well, the other one from Denver. Oh, they're all getting in the bloody end and everything. It was chaos, guys.
Yep.
And very fun.
It was great. It was great. Now that they go back to, 2 tight end touchdowns a week, is that what, now they've given them their celebration week?
So to jump the gun a little bit on fantasy, like awesome for fantasy. Like, I had Kyle Pitts in one league. I've got Mark Andrews in the other. I've got Jaden Daniels in both as well. So he has a sick Hail Mary and has these massive score in the end of it. It's like, all right, that's going to be interception. It's going to knock your fantasy score down a bit. Nah, Hail Mary, awesome. Tight ends go off as well. I still lost both my matchups. Like, it's just like, come on, man. I think in both accounts I had like the highest scoring losing score of the weekend. So I would have beaten basically all but one other team. Anyway, good stuff. Other little bits and bobs of news. You might have heard about these ones. The Chiefs made a trade for Josh Uche. No, for DeAndre Hopkins. How good was that one? For a 4th rounder from the Tennessee Titans. And I do love that Tennessee's just like, look, we know that we're a waypoint for like formerly really good wide receivers, but this time we're just going to pull the pin because we're cooked, mate. So like they've already moved on, which is kind of nice.
Don't worry about it.
And the rich get richer. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, look, DeAndre Hopkins 5 years ago, I just don't know what his role's going to be. Right? Is it the burner that he was back in the day? He probably doesn't have that left. The Chiefs have already got that too. You've filled that role with Worthy and stuff like that. But I'm just really interested to see what role he's going to fill in that offense. Obviously, injuries have taken their toll there, but they still doesn't seem to be affecting them in terms of win-loss ratio. Yeah. So. Look, we'll see what he's got left. It's not going to be the Julio Jones, the Eagles, a couple of years ago, where it was just like, he's just going to stand in the end zone and maybe catch 2 passes there for the season and then go and retire. Which ironically was also the Julio Jones on the Titans. There you go. Yeah. Andre Johnson 100%. Was on the Titans as well. Yeah, that's true. It's just where old wide receivers got to die. See what happens. Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say the other one that came off this week that was interesting of Dalvin Cook finally got some playing time after sitting on the Cowboys practice squad. After they picked him up in the offseason, did absolutely nothing, and like to see his he kept his last year's stats line. It wasn't a freak show there. It was kept it solid at 2 yards per rush, Jim. Classic. I do like that they were just like showing him drinking these little bottles. It's like, is he boozing on the sideline? Yeah. No, that's what I'd be doing. But Hopkins as well. So he starts off his Chiefs career, 2 catches for 29 yards. You're like, all right, that's fine. It'd be interesting to see how he warms in the season. They did get Josh Uche from the Pats as well, the Chiefs. There was another trade as well. The Seahawks got Ernest Jones from the Titans. Titans just having a fire sale. They got Jerome Baker and a 4th in return. So, sure. A little bit of injury news. Jordan Love looked like he got really, really hurt. Couldn't make it to the sideline, basically. And they're like, it's a groin. It's like, did he get punched in the nuts? Because that's exactly how I would have, like, it's like, the delayed onset of like, oh, God, that hurt once you've been punched in the nuts. And then the actual real pain, the lasting just like, pain just like, it just hits you like a little bit after. Yep. That's exactly what it looked like. It had happened to him. But I feel like it was just like this weird twist. So that sort of sucks. But there's been no official word about him yet, has there? No, I haven't seen whether as that's gonna. We went through and had a look at this week's picks, and there are a couple of massive question marks that are going to make this week's picking really fucking hard. The other little bit of injury stuff was that McCaffrey will be back probably after the Niners bye. Everyone sort of seems pretty up and about that. So yeah, and they're talking about it's obviously affecting the picks is David Derek Carr. They're hopeful that he's going to come back this week. So. He was shit before he went on, but he has to be better than Spencer Rattler. So, I mean, you'd assume. Yeah. You really would assume. You would hope. You know what happens when you assume. You look like a dickhead. Right, week 8. Raps. Here's the games. Minnesota Rams. I barely remember this game because the NBA season started last week, guys. I was watching a bunch of NBA games on one, I think on the... Yeah, I think I had 3 screens going. So I had the big TV for the football.
I was working on my laptop. I had the basketball on the other one. And it's just like, it feels like I'm like half paying attention to what's going on in the Rams-Vikings. And I'm like, wait, how'd the Vikings lose the ball again and all this sort of shit? They lose 30-20. And the Rams sort of have everybody back now-ish in terms of Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Kupp had like 51 and a touchdown. Nacua just goes over 100 because that's what he just does. And Kyron Williams was just awesome again. And you're like, they're good again. Bloody hell.
Yep, they have an offense. It was weird to see it all come back. I think last week I was just kind of assuming, they might get someone back, and this could be, keep it close. But to get them both back in the same week and actually have them click straight away was, it was pretty interesting. This Minnesota's getting a bit shaky. No,
they're on a short-ish. Had they played? Yeah. Yeah, it's like it was a weird sort of schedule, whereas the Rams are coming up a bye, which is always a little bit of a crappy one.
Yeah.
So, look, Stafford looked good. Sam Darnold actually looked fine. He had Jefferson had over 100 as well. But, the Vikings, look, I think that's just one of those ones where you're like, this one's going to suck. It's sort of hold your nose kind of vibes, but they were fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not quite smoke and mirrors like it has been in the past, but their defense is good enough where you go, the Sam Darnold thing might be a little bit smoke and mirrors, but I think they'll still be at least solid. Whereas you think about those years past where the Vikings were like, hey, we're going to win all the games by less than a score. And you're like, the ass is going to fall out of this at some point. And it did.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. So it feels like a bit wonky, but the Rams 3-4 now. Vikings 5-2. Lost 2 on the trot. I don't know. She'll be right.
She'll be right.
Now we get into the Monday morning games. Arizona, 28, Miami, 27. What the hell, man? Tua came back. And you're like, okay, Tua, what are you doing back? He's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just going to throw the ball, and even I don't know where I reckon I'm going to throw it. But how they lost this game is still beyond me. Kyler Murray was perfectly fine for the Cards. And then right at the end, he was awesome. And we got another walk-off Chad Ryland fucking field goal game winner, which is just back-to-back weeks. It's absurd. It was a weird one. What
I particularly like about this one was this is part of a flurry of messages that happened the night before, Jim, where you realised that Tua was back and you changed your pick from the Cards to the Dolphins, and I was already sitting on the Dolphins, so I was already on hiding to lose. But look, it was what we kind of said early days of the Dolphins are going to come out and Tyreek's going to go, fucking hell, I've had no one to pass to me for the last 3 weeks. I'm going to be like a caged beast. And it wasn't a normal Tyreek off his fucking chain game, but like 72 versus last week, I think him and Waddle had a catch each. So actually returning to form a little bit with 10 between them was fucking great. But he's fucking he's letting the Cardinals hang around, and like Gannon's just got that defense doing like enough in the second half, and giving Murray that chance to come back, and this is what happens.
It's crazy. What was it? The first time that the Cards have won back-to-back games since like 2019 or some shit. Like it's absolute chaos. So
weird. And like, I think Mark Harrison didn't start off the game too fantastically, and then ended up with a nice 100+ stat line.
McBride went for 100. Like it was incredible. Anyway, Miami's defense, bit shit, sucked in. Regret changing my pick. Jets 22, New England 25. What? As mentioned, the Pats win the game.
What the absolute fuck, Jim.
Also, fuck the refs. How do you not get a fucking helmet-to-helmet hit on the Drake May one that knocks him out of the game because he copped it in the head from the other dude's fucking head, Gaz?
We also missed that in the missed talking about that in the Minnesota Rams game, the face mask at the end, which didn't cover the. Yeah, that was that wasn't great. That was like right in the end zone. So I know we're jumping back between games, but that was worth a mention.
It really was, because there's 3 refs kind of like looking directly at it. One that's about, I don't know, 2 meters away from the fucking play as it's happening. Sam Darnold's head gets wrenched right the fucking back around. It's like, he didn't do it by himself, ref. Like, I don't like. He didn't just go,
what made it worse was the situational football, and it ended the game. Yeah. Right? We're like 8 points down, like right hard against your end zone,
Drive,
but
let's
enough
go.
time to get down there. Let's see if these guys are legit. And then that penalty in the end zone, safety. See you fucking later. Off you fuck. Right?
So dumb. Anyway, Pats, they won that game. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was stupid. It was hilarious. Because Rodgers just looks old because he is. Like one of those ones. And you're like, but this offense, we've got Devontae Adams. It's like, yeah, but your offense is still shit because your O-line sucks. And like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, your defense should be better. Like, there's no way that the Pats should be putting up 25 on fucking anybody, let alone this much vaunted Jets defense. And this came after Drake May was knocked out very fucking early. Suddenly you've got Jacoby Brissett just fucking hitting Hunter Henry down the seam for another 30 yards. And just hitting another dude. Well, it wasn't 30 yards, but it was like a 12-yard thing. And then he's hitting fucking what? Our man. Yes, Booty. He was absolutely bloody awesome down the stretch. And that's how they won that game. They kept that alive. They get the touchdown at the end and fucking sucked in Jets. As I messaged you, I'm like, fucking, if we're going to beat somebody, beat the Jets. That's hilarious. How are the Jets 2-6 the same as the Pats? That's fucking funny as sucked in Jets. Blow it out your ass. And thank you, Garrett Wilson, for still having 113 yards from fantasy team, which lost anyway. So
yeah, it was fucking wild because you were losing right up until the injury, right? And then it was Briskett's job to bring this all back. But Ramondre, like he's just not the second. Like he was expected to be the dude, right? And he hasn't been really doing too much. I think if May's going to focus on a supporting cast, well, fingers crossed they focus on a supporting cast for May in this draft, and you might be a half decent team. Unfortunately for you, you can't play the Jets every week, so there's that.
It's fine. Like I'm happy just to get better at some point next year. Like, but it was like the Drake May thing. You're like, dude, I don't want head hits. Like that's just it was fucking shit house and fuck the Jets. Anyway, 2-6 both teams. Very funny. And what Miami 2-5, which is absurd. Anyway, hey Philly 37, Cincy 17. What happened here, guys?
Are we good, Jim? I don't really fucking know. Look, so we've come back at the 37-17 against Cincinnati. I mean, you picked Cincy. I was going on, I'm not really sure. We've just beaten the shit out of two shit teams in the last 2 weeks. Didn't know what to make of it. But Hurts, 4 total touchdowns. Beautiful bomb to Devontae that even got a message out of you going, what the fuck?
It was a great throw.
And most importantly, he's had no turnovers since the bye, which was a big problem at the beginning of the season. Maybe the Kellen Moore offense kicking in, and Fangio's the boys are kicking in well. The Burrow was moving the ball really well at the beginning, and then they tightened up in the second half, and it just was super nice. I don't know. There was nothing really to pick on about this game, which is fucking weird as an Eagles fan.
The worst part I had is I didn't realize Higgins wasn't playing, or else I probably would have switched it. Because having watched this Cincy fucking team play without Higgins at points, you're like, he might be more important than fucking Chase. So this is weird. And really regretted that as soon as it was sort of I'm like, wait, no T Higgins. Fuck. Well. Hopefully they can pull it out. Oh, wait, they can't. This stinks. And also, could Jalen Hurts stop stealing all of Saquon Barkley's touchdowns? That's fucked.
100%. I had a really nice multi that nearly went off its head. That's my wife stealing the cat, so it doesn't fucking keep meowing. So, yeah, like I had a really sick multi where I had taken Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown because of that. Saquon to go over 90. Our defense to keep Burrow under 258. Now, in the first half, he nearly had 200, and I'm like, oh, shit, this isn't great. And then they knuckled down. The only thing that stopped me at the 36-1 was I had anytime touchdown AJ Brown, and the bomb this week went to Smitty. So, fucked me. But apart from that, I'm happy to take the win, mate.
Well, the best one in this game was the tap down interception, which was amazing. So
Isaiah Rodgers off Chase into the hands of CJGJ, where they were like, he spoiled that. That's a great, pass breakup. And then the commentator's like, wait, did he? Gardner Johnson just take that? The other one is the defense has really changed since Cooper DeJean, the great white hope at cornerback, has stepped in, because not only is he returning kicks, but in the slot he had that fourth down where the Bengals were trying to stay in it, and he had an open field tackle against Chase, which is not fucking easy, and our tackling is wholeheartedly shit. So DeJean to be able to do that by himself as a rookie was pretty fucking good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Good one. Well, fly Eagles fly, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a pretty big one. Baltimore 24, Cleveland 29. I feel like an idiot. Why the fuck did I take Baltimore? It's Jaymz, Gaz. It's Jaymz. You knew he was going to come in and go, I don't give a fuck. Check this out. Bang! And Baltimore had this game until right at the end when Jameis went, no, you don't.
No.
Check this
Fucking
out.
bang, bomb. See you later.
Absolutely sick. He ends up with 334 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He was amazing. Outplayed Lamar. Absolutely crushed it. Nick Chubb was very, very serviceable. But Cedric Tillman, that last one was just massive. He ends up with 2 touchdowns, 99 yards. They had too much time left at the end, which was just weird to think about, because you're like, it's the Browns, they're shit. It's like, no. That's the Deshaun Watson Browns.
Yeah.
These are the Jameis Winston Browns, motherfucker. Strap in. Let's go. And that's what happened.
I think we're noticing a trend here, Jim, and it's the anybody else Browns.
Yes. That's a good one. Joe
Flacco last year, Jaymz this year. It's I made a comment during the game when they were close to the mates that if he was to pull this out, they should build him a fucking statue. And then sure enough, he fucking did, Jim. And this is the other multi. I had an 8-leg multi with all just the head-to-heads, and every one of them hit, paying above 30 to 1. And so I celebrated. I was like, holy fuck, how good is that? And then I realized it cost me money. And I was like, Jameis, you bastard.
I love it. It was crazy. And I don't know, Kyle Hamilton, right, drops the interception. It hits him just fucking full on. He holds on to that. The Ravens win the game, and it's over. Nope. Drops it. They drive, score. Hilarious. A road loss to a 1-win team is just such a kick in the dick for this Ravens team. But it's Jameis, and we know just how you can beat that Ravens D sometimes. They're missing a couple of cornerbacks, all that sort of shit. But yeah, it was fucking weird and very funny. What an upset. Jameis, baby. Eat them wins. Tennessee 14, Detroit 52. Whatever. Just Detroit fucking killed Tennessee. At one point, you're like, what is happening in this game? And I'm like, it's amazing. That's what's happening.
I was like, the thing that I couldn't, I'm just trying to pull up the stats now, but the thing that I couldn't get, because I was balls deep in the Eagles game, and I just happened to, the score line didn't surprise me, Jim. What it did, the fact that they were at 40 points, it was 17 second half. Yeah, so they were 35 points in the first half. I'm like, Jesus, this got out of control real quick. But then it was when I looked at the stats line, and Jared Goff had only passed for 85 yards. That's right. They had 61 total. I think they had 55 at the time. I'm like, wait, how are these guys nearly putting up 50 with 60 total passing yards? It's fucking nuts. And 85 yards and 3 touchdowns is fucking ridiculous for Goff.
Yep. It's awesome because it was Laporta, Raymond, and Amon Ra all had short touchdowns. They had a punt return touchdown. They had Gibbs and Montgomery both getting in. And they just kicked the fuck out of him. And Goff is going to start entering that MVP convo, which is the funniest thing in the world very, very soon.
100%.
But that's a great smashing Detroit rule. I love them. Green Bay beat Jacksonville 30-27 because Jacksonville had it after the Evan Ingram. Well, they had it to overtime. Evan Ingram catches a sick touchdown. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe they come all the way back against Malik Willis and Green Bay. They're going to win this, the Jags. Then Malik Willis goes, shut up, Jim, and just bang, check this out. What was it? Christian Watson across the middle. Boom, off they go. Walk off, field goal from Brandon McManus, who, again, was sitting on his couch last week. It's just absurd. So, I think Malik Willis has now got 3 wins this year, and Jordan Love's got 3 wins for them this year. It's just fucking crazy.
Fucking nuts. But also the weird thing is, I don't know. I just watched the highlights of this game, and I don't know who to take, who I've got the biggest takeaway for, because Green Bay are letting worse teams hang around or be around them at all, and Jacksonville just are able to pull this out against a playoff caliber team, and then just fucking shit the bed against anyone else. Like, and they're apparently playing us. So, well, they're not apparently. They are playing us this week, and they're at risk of being without their potentially their top 3 wide receivers.
Oh God!
Yeah, I don't know what. I haven't looked up the stats. I just saw the on Eagles Twitter. It was like, yeah, they could be heavily injured coming in here. So not good news for Dougie P, who's already on life support. But yeah, fucking hell, man.
It is weird because the Packers are 6-2, the Jags are 2-6, and the Packers are now like almost hitting that KC level of like they just keep winning these fucking weird games.
Done.
And here we are. But like Tucker Kraft was awesome, big touchdown as I mentioned at the top. Like Malik Willis was just solid, and that's all you kind of need from him. So, but the biggest thing is the Jordan Love like injury, because it feels like the Packers, the biggest concern that you have for them is that, as you said, they keep letting teams hang around.
Yeah.
Even if you keep winning them, that's going to bite on the ass at some point, because we just don't know if their defense is any good. So,
yeah, and particularly once you start getting into those real solid divisional games, and they're not like in a division for the faint-hearted, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Anyway, speaking of division games, 2023, that was Indy Houston. Indy had no right being in this game until the very end. Like, Anthony Richardson had like one of the worst fucking quarterback passing just games where you're like, what is going on with this dude? And like, he just left at one point. He's like, I got to come out tapping his helmet. And they sent in Flacco. Flacco's like, what am I doing? He's just like, I'll hand it off. Like, and JT's just fucking going, I'll just take it over here for a nice big run. Check this out. And Richardson came back in and was still kind of a bit shitty. But Houston, I mean, this is it. We keep saying this, right? Houston and Green Bay are the Spider-Man meme, like pointing at, hey, hang on, you're me, but in the NFC. And they let shit teams hang around. But you look at CJ Stroud ever so often, he's got as I've said before, this confused look on his face of like, what's happening?
Yep.
What are we doing? What the fuck am I doing? Where am I? Oh God. And like, there's just this weird fucking look on his face, but they keep winning. So it doesn't really matter. Yep. So Mixon was very good. Diggs was good and then got hurt. Without Nico Collins, that's fucking chaos. But I don't know, Houston left Indy a minute to actually sort of win this game. And you're like, fucking hell, they're going to like at least drive and tie it. And they didn't, because they fucked it, which is very Indy and on brand.
Yeah, there's more to, I feel more to take away from the Colts in this one, that the fact that they're sitting at 4-4 is a lot on Shane Steichen, and the fact that he's able to scheme things in spite of Anthony Richardson. Because there were some plays here where, the massive scramble with time wasting away and staying in bounds to get those extra couple of yards.
It was so
rather
weird.
Than just ducking out.
He was right there along the fucking sideline too. It's just like, dude, just turn right.
Yep. Yeah, and they interviewed him afterwards and said, why did you step out for that play? We injured, and he was tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. It's like, all right. I'm always tired. I got 2 kids, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, the whole vibe around that, the bust vibes are not great. Particularly, second year when it was supposed to be awesome for the division, right? When you got CJ Stroud and Richardson coming in, and like this is what the Daniels and Caleb, they were hoping it was going to be this. Obviously not division rivals, but and that was going to be for years to come. And then all of a sudden, Stroud went off his fucking head. Richardson obviously showed promise and then got injured, but one's leading a playoff team and the other one's sitting there at 10 of 32, Jim.
Yeah, flip side, 25 of 37 for CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, you're right. But once again, as I said, passing the Houston guys just keep letting fucking dudes in the door. Like, wow. Anyway.
Jonathan Taylor, 105 with a touchdown. Mixon, 102 and a touchdown. You're like, yeah, that checks out. Atlanta, 31. Tampa Bay, 26. God, this was dumb. And like just I think I had Atlanta, what did they win by 5? And I had Atlanta in a couple of bets. And like, again, talk about fucking leaving doors open. Tampa Bay had absolutely no right to be in this. And Atlanta just put the fucking cue in the rack. And it felt like in the second half, right? You're like, dudes, the game's not over. Like, what the fuck? And even the commentators are just like, yeah, this one's done. Like, it felt like it was done. And I'm like, dude,
it's Baker.
They're still like only 10 points down or whatever the fuck they were down, right? And it was actually a little bit more. I can't remember. But Atlanta scored a touchdown in the third quarter. And he's like, all right, back, all right, we're done here. It's like, Tampa Bay is still on the field. I don't know what to tell you. And Kate Otten, like Bucky Irving, Rashad White, they didn't have to do too much, but it was all the Kate Otten stuff, like the 2 touchdowns, 81 yards. He was fantastic. Flip side, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kyle Pitts early. And you're like, this is great. And Bijan, he was very nice afterwards, very handy. Tyler Algier just like kept sort of fucking up every so often. And it wasn't so much like fumbles or whatever it felt like, but it was just weird and janky. So Atlanta were pretty lucky, I feel like, to pull this out, considering the Tampa Bay don't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right?
Godwin, yep. Yeah, look, it should have been more one-sided than it was, but there's the Baker effect, and there's this like plucky little thing. But it seemed like they just had it in control right up to the end of the third quarter. And you're like, fine, like Kirk can't play Tampa Bay every week. Just goes off his fucking head, 4 touchdowns. But yeah, I don't. They've got a winning record, but I'm still not sure about this Falcons team. The rest of the division is kind of, obviously, the Saints fell off a cliff. Panthers were never there, and Bucks are dealing with a lot of injuries. But this is where Atlanta should be really putting their stamp on this shit, right?
5-3, but now you've beaten Tampa Bay twice. Like they have to be a game ahead of you on the standings to win the fucking thing. So the weirdest one for this one was it was like 31-17. And they're acting like it's over. And then we got one of the 3 safeties we got this week, guys. It was weird as fuck. It goes out the back of the end zone, safety. You're like, oh, hang on a second. Now it's 31-19. You're like, that's no door. That's a jar.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And it was weird listening to this fucking commentary. Anyway, good win for Atlanta. They're still janky as fuck. New Orleans 8, block. Chargers 26. Juzzy Herbs. Jim Harbaugh is going to turn him into fucking Tom Brady. I love it. Let's go. He's out there scrambling, looking like a young Tom Brady. He's slinging around, looking like a young Tom Brady. Tom Brady. I love it. Let's go, Juzzy Herbs. My beloved Juzzy Herbs. Outside of that, this game fucking sucked. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they saw enough of Rattler for him to get... And it was early that he got benched too, right? It was early in the second half,
it was.
I think. And it was like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Pack her up, mate. Go warm that bench. But he just, wasn't doing much. He didn't have the stupid fucking turnovers that he's had in previous weeks, but just not enough to fill you with any confidence. Like, just your mate, he's just got to be sacked.
How has he still got
a
job, guys? No one knows. Like, what does he have on the Bensons? They're 2-6. He's got one of the worst head coaching records in the fucking history of the sport. What are we doing here? Dennis Allen.
Have the injuries bought him time?
No.
That's the thing, right?
Surely not.
But they can't keep him around for... This is the thing, is he's a lame duck because they're not going to keep him around for the rebuild because they kind of already did by getting David Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And his years before that have not stood out. So you're like, well, I don't fucking know.
Herbs, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had some 6 scrambles. So, yeah, I was happy with that. Good win for the Chargers at home. The Saints are a fucking basket case at this point. Buffalo, 31, Seattle, 10. Ugh, Seattle, you're breaking my heart. This was oh, God. Can Seattle, come from behind at all? And you're like, no, they can't. So, Buffalo just put the foot down, got up on them big, and that was kind of it. Like, it was a laugher. Like, if you're watching Red Zone, you barely saw this game because it was just fucking done. Like, the couple of, they had like an interception in the second quarter, I want to say, Buffalo, and you're like, oh, God. And they scored again after that, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is Seattle are just a bit shit. It was 24-3. Then it was 31-3, and the game was just over. You're like, all right, back her up. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Seattle. Those poor fans. Chicago 15, Washington 18. How did this one end?
Wow. A bit of taunting, Jim.
Yeah, not great. What was it? Tyler Stevenson or whatever his name is?
Yep.
Yeah, not great. Daniels was good to go. Gaz changed his pick. Good call.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was the fucking smartest man in the world as that ball was in the air. And then I wasn't. Just like Tyler Stevenson. But the Hail Mary.
Fucking wild.
How do you just... It's one of those... It's the same with like rugby passes in NFL teams. You spend so much fucking time practicing. This is your job. And Hail Marys, invariably, one of them will just work. You're like, how do you know not how to... Like, how do you not know how to stop this yet?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not have just like one random dude out the back so that the offense doesn't have one random dude out the back just to get the bounce off?
Yeah.
Alternately, we've also seen on Hail Marys where if they rush 5, you usually get to the dude because they've gone all fucking speed on the wides. They've gone fucking hammer and tongs. If you rush 5, you just get the fucking quarterback because he doesn't have enough time to launch it. So,
yeah, 100%.
Here we are. Anyway, great job, Chicago.
Well, I mean, the other thing that not only has Stevenson apologized, but it was his job to get the coaches have already come out and
Noah Brown, he was his cover.
Spray. It was his job to get body on Noah Brown.
Sorry, it was Tyreek Stevenson,
Tyreek Stevenson, to disrupt him, and also it's always that tap it down. You're not fucking covering yourself in glory. You don't get anything but a stat for an interception. It doesn't mean fucking anything. Just fucking bat that shit, right?
It's got to have like,
anyway,
the ball's
so
coming.
I was torn in that one. Because on the one hand, what a fucking amazing play to end the game and our excitement and how good is that. But also, I mean, the Commanders are now 6-2 and top of our division.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But the Bears, I mean, it showed these guys have been legit for the rest of the season. They've played tough against some really good teams, and the Bears are on their way up. So the fact that it was close, it wasn't a lot of offense in this game. I mean, Caleb put up 131 and was less than 50% completion rate. But look, it's I think this is going to be some fun games moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Chicago, right? So they've given up 17 points, 19 points, 21 points, 18 points, 10 points, 16 points, 18 points. The highest number there, Gaz, is 21.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's right.
They still, like, that was probably the best team they've sort of played as well, because apart from when they lost to the Texans early on, that was always a weird and janky game anyway. But outside of that, like, their defense is solid. The offense is, like, okay at times. The Commanders' defense has also been surprisingly solid. You've got Dan Quinn there now. It sort of makes a little bit of sense that it's a bit improved. But yeah, Washington, lucky as fuck. Hail Mary, it barely ever comes off. When it does, it's awesome. We forget all the ones that don't.
Yep.
Anyway. Speaking of a game that we all forgot, Denver 28, Carolina 14. Fucking who cares? Carolina, they got off to a fast start, and then it was, not great after that, to the point where we got Bryce Young again, which is always fun. And when I say fun, I mean weird.
Yeah.
So, like, we didn't have Andy Dalton because of his car accident, and you're like, this is Bryce Young's team now, apparently. Oh, that's not great.
No.
So they got a fumble and then a touchdown. You're like, hang on a second, is this going to be an upset? Fuck, I've bet Denver. God. And then you're like, oh no, they scored almost straight away. Turn around, it's 21-7. You're like, yep, Carolina is still shit, it turns out. So it was 28-7 basically, and then they got like a late touchdown to make it not as embarrassing, but that's the Carolina vibe. Yeah.
JC Sahorn had some words to say, like straight up to Sean Payton about the, what was it, a fake field goal?
They tried a fake field goal and they just completely fucking sniffed it out. And they tried something else tricky after. Well, actually, it might have been they tried the fake field goal after they tried like a flea flicker or something, and both didn't work. And you're like,
when it was 28-7 up, and
it's like, come on, man. I like the gumption. Like, good on them.
Yep.
But you also look like a fucking idiot if none of that works. Like when you're getting your ass kicked, it's like, it's fun if you sort of get it to pull it off, and you're like, right, we can put that in our back pocket again at some other point, but. Yeah, just embarrassing. KC beat the Raiders 27-20. Weird game.
Closer than we thought it'd be.
probably should have known as well, though. I think we both picked KC. The line was like 9.5. The Raiders is shit, but they also fucking hate the Chiefs with a passion that we could all aspire to, right?
These games are always fucky. I think we said the last game the Chiefs have lost at all was this
Christmas,
was last
right?
season.
Yeah, like quite literally.
Last season against
these
same dudes.
Yeah, it literally came down to like, well, they were 27-13. They were sort of cruising, but it was still 20-13 before the fumble that I think it was like a weird one too, wasn't it? It was Minshew just like losing the ball again.
Yep.
And then KC sort of get the sort of fuck off, we've won this now touchdown after a big long drive. And then the Raiders turn around and score, and you're like, are they still in? Oh no, they've sort of burned enough time. And I don't know, the Raiders just sort of weird me out. And I
think that they're terrible, Tim. The thing is, for every exciting, fun bit of Minshew, when he's bad, he's real bad.
Yep.
Right. And we've always said that he's good for, like, when, he's played backup and he's come in for, a part of a game because he needed to be, or a game or two. You're like, oh, this guy's fucking exciting. How fun's this shit? And then you see him for an extended period and you're like, oh, fuck.
It's kind of like his buddy Trump.
Yeah.
You just like, it's like, it seems like it's fun. And then you're like, oh, nah, just insane. Nah. That's not ideal. 24, Dallas, San Francisco, 30. Another game that was treated like it was over by Collinsworth and Tirico. And you're like, hang on.
It's garbage time, Dak.
It was just
of course he's coming back.
Then it was like, hang on, I think they were saying some shit. I'm like, oh, fuck. How much? There must be like, I don't know, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. It was like, no, it's like 6 minutes 80. Well, and I'm like, let's go.
6 minutes 80.
6 minutes 80. I'm like, let's fucking go. That's 7:20 for all those, playing along at home. I'm like, this is incredible. They've given up. And it's like, Dallas suck. I get it. But that's it. Garbage time, Dak. The question I wanted to pose to you there, Gaz, was like, is the story more the Niners being okay and good still, or just the horrible Dallas defense?
Well, look, I think the fact that San Fran did it with injuries, and you were like, well, fuck, you know what? They're not shitful. I mean, that was part of the reason you said you went Dallas, was because you were like, oh, they're riddled with injuries, and they were still able to do it. Just rely on Kittle. Debo had some nice plays, but there was a lot that Purdy did with his legs.
Yep.
Like, he put up 50 yards himself. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. But there are a lot of injuries going on in that defense. A lot of the there was some who was it? Was it Diggs and the tweet? So there was a lot of, he was getting called out for the lack of effort on the big Kittle streak down the sideline pass, and he went into the locker room and saw a tweet from one of the reporters calling him out. So he walks back out in front of the reporters and has a go at him. And I got a bit of the old league my balls, Jim.
Yeah.
D's nuts.
Yeah, he gave it the old D's nuts, didn't he? That was awesome. Definitely
so,
a smart thing to do.
I mean, Dallas, it's a big 2 weeks for them because they play Atlanta and then they play us. Season could be over in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Right? If you go into that 3-6.
But the Niners are pretty crazy, so that was fun. Very weird, very fun. Like, it eventually became way more of a fun game than it probably should have been. Like, when Dallas sort of ripped off those last 2 touchdowns, you're like, hang on a second, we're on here. But the Niners, look, as you said, like, it was so much Kittle, and he just sort of grabbed. It's so weird to see, like, a tight end. He and Kelsey can basically sort of do this, right? Just grab a game by the scruff of the neck and go, let's get out of the fucking road. Bang. And just like wailing on dudes and just killing a game. Like, Gronk used to be able to do this as well, right? With Brady, etc. But yeah.
There was less of a reliance on it in the last couple of years. For Kittle, he's definitely taken a back seat when you've got, Debo and Ayuk and CMC.
It's also crazy that
then
Debo
all of a sudden
played.
You're just like, oh yeah, he's still there.
Debo was in hospital with fucking pneumonia last week. Like, what are we doing? Anyway. And then finally, Pittsburgh kicked the shit out of the Giants, 26-18. And then it wasn't so much a shit kicking until it was. And then it was like, hang on a second. The Giants,
wasn't again.
And then the Giants are like, oh, we're still hanging around. And then Danny Dimes threw another interception. You're like, oh yeah, cool. That's the Giants. The punt return was the big one for the Steelers, right?
Yep.
It was just like broke the game wide open because up until that point, it had been an absolute fucking slog. Was it 9-6 at the half or something?
It was all field goals.
Yeah.
There was that weird Pickens, the beautiful pass into double coverage to Pickens, and he brought it down, but he tapped the 1 foot twice, but couldn't get the second one down, and so it was the touchdown that wasn't a touchdown, and that would have broken the game open, but it kept him hanging around with all those field goals. But yeah, it was the what was it, the rusty touchdown, and you're like, all right, this is under control now. But then it went to there was the forced fumble by Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Burns just took out Rusty. And then not long later, Danny Dimes just gave it right back.
So Ojulari was massive in this game as well. Yeah. And like watching these
D-line
Giants,
is fucking legit.
They're terrifying. And I'm like, you're sitting there going, oh man, like Philly, but Philly still kicked the shit out of them. So like, you're not that stressed, right? So it's this weird one. So Steelers,
but that is why, like last game, there was fucking Eagles, Giants. It was 15 sacks.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the only thing. And that was, to be honest, this is what the narrative was on the New York Giants defense before the season. It's like, don't hold on to the ball too long, run straight at them, or get rid of the ball over to that secondary, because that secondary's fucked.
Yeah.
So they've got no one in there. If you can get it over the top of that D-line, well, you're sweet. But if you hold on too long, you're going to die.
Tracy was amazing. He had 145 in the touchdown, but like also went off injured late, and which is a bit of a weird one. Neighbors came back for 7 catches, 71 yards. Never really had like that big fuck you, break it open. Slayton was really good because he had 108. But yeah, Giants 2-6, Pittsburgh 6-2, and like Rusty and Juzzy Fields on the sidelines sort of yapping it up, and you're like, I can't believe they're doing it again. Fuck you, Pittsburgh. Fuck you. Thing is, they've now got a really tough schedule from here on out, so they had to win that one. Let's do some really quickly. I'm going to run through the 2 that I gave you last week. We're just going to rehash them. KC, are they just going to keep doing this all year? Yeah, nah.
Well, yeah, and there's some fucking, anyone we thought was good in your people have a thing. I'm just going to refer to the online. You post videos and post shit, and then people don't look at them for like a week, and a whole bunch of shit happens in the NFL, and then they judge it from shit that happened 5 days ago.
Yep.
Or something that happened yesterday, or something that you recorded 5 days ago. So yeah, obviously the Ravens probably not as hot of a pick as they were 7 days ago. But yeah, I mean, obviously they showed a little bit of, oh fuck. Whereas KC are just doing it, and it wasn't like, the Raiders hung around, but did they ever kind of look stressed?
Nah, no? They didn't look stressed, but they're just like, we'll do enough. It's fine. It's going to be fine. The same one from last week as well. Are Detroit still the best team in the NFC? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, the fact when they put up 56 points and they don't even get 100 yards from Goff, and that passing offense, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty well-rounded. The problem is that the D, if it doesn't shut down people, like, can you keep putting up 30, 40 every fucking game?
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Good stuff. Niners 4-4. Are they a sneaky floater now that they're sort of slowly, feasibly going to get a little bit healthier?
Yeah. I mean, we're never writing them off. Seattle just kind of always feel a bit on kind of tenterhooks. They could be one Geno away from the season falling off the edge. So you'd still go the Niners in that division, right?
So that's it. The NFC West is still chaos. Everybody's 4-4. And apart from the Rams, who are 3-4, because they had a bye last week. So,
and they're getting healthier, and then Niners are going to get healthier.
We talked about, like, it looked like the NFC West was going to be a shit show like 3 weeks ago. And now you're like, oh, wait, no, our preseason prediction of it being a fucking gauntlet is bang on. So it's like and the AFC North is chaos apart from like basically like that's just chaos always. The AFC East is a fucking joke. NFC East is pretty gnarly. But the Cowboys might be shit. We just don't know. The NFC North is absolutely fucking gangbusters as well, though. We sort of knew that was going to happen too. So some fun stuff out there. And like then you've got the AFC and the NFC South going, hello, we're here too. You're like, what are you doing? Get out of here.
We play football.
Packers made the playoffs last year after being 2-5, Gaz, heading into week 8. Rams are 3-5. They made it as well. So, is anybody going to do that this year? I'll give you. So 2-5, 3-4. The Rams are 3-4 right now. Can they make the playoffs? Yeah, no.
They can. Yeah, I mean that's some pretty hefty weapons they've just got back, right?
Yep.
So when you rip out a couple of 1,000-yard receivers for an extended period of time, it's gonna hurt. So the fact that they're getting healthy now at the right time is good, and anyone else within the division could, as we just said about Geno, could one injury away. Yeah, they could perceivably do it. The problem is that division is pretty stacked. I don't think the cards at the top there. I don't think they'll hang around in the serious part of the season. But teams are letting them hang around and sneaking out the occasional win. So yeah.
Dallas 3-4. Can they do it, or is their season over?
I don't think they will. The problem with Dallas is there's no reinforcements coming. Dalvin Cook was their reinforcement, and their running back room was great 5 years ago. They don't have a running game. They're trying to get between Turpin and Terp.
Are you having a stroke? Like this is.
I fucking feel like I am. The T receivers opposite CD Lamb.
Talbot.
Look, they're trying to get some weapons opposite CD, but garbage time Dak once again stacking the padding the stats. But the defense, apart from Micah coming back, like I don't really see that can tighten down, particularly when they've got to still play the Commanders' offense, us, and they got a reasonably tough schedule going through. They've still got Atlanta to play this week.
All right, Jets season over 2-6.
How do they come back from this, Jim? They've gone out and got weapons and got, Adams, and got seemingly absolutely no better. But once again, it's that if the defense is the problem and they sack the defensive head coach. Like, perfect. What the fuck?
How about Cincy? They're 3-5. Bit of a tricky one.
It is. Look, watching them this game, like Burrow, was statistically the most efficient quarterback in the league leading into this game. And when I watched the first half, he was just had a bunch of time, just carving it up, leaning on Gesicki when in T. Higgins' absence. You've still got Chase. Like that offense is good. Their running game could be a bit better, but that defense just couldn't get home. They got a chance to get up there if they stay healthy.
Yep. Nice one. Right. Good bloke of the week. Who are we buying a beer? This one's obvious. I feel like a fucking idiot. Jaymz. Not only did he do that, 300 plus yards, bunch of touchdowns, leads the game-winning drive, quotes Eminem post-game.
Yep.
There's a little white guy in Detroit who said, I don't think you
one shot. I just remember sending you the message going, it has to be. And you've come back and I said, did you see the Eminem quote? So good, Jim.
It was the best 1 minute 24 clip I reckon I've ever watched. It was amazing. Yeah. I was so happy all the way through it.
Thank you to my O-line, my D-line. But the funny thing is they were asking him about how he felt about coming back in Cleveland and getting another chance. And then he's gone and quoted Eminem about you get one shot, one chance. And I'm like, no, that's the wrong quote, Jaymz. That's saying the opposite of what you wanted to say. Anyway.
So good. He rules. It was amazing. Also, the twins who played against each other, Sydney and Chase Brown.
And Sydney. Yeah.
The first Canadian twins to play in the same game, which is very fun.
Yeah, so there was at the end of the game when it was kind of done, we rested some of the secondary and they kept Chase Brown in. And the one thing we wanted to get was the first twin, was going to be the first twin to tackle his twin since Tiki and Rondo Barber back in the fucking whatevers. And we didn't get the tackle, Jim. Didn't happen.
I don't know.
So next time, that one time that we play.
The universe might have imploded. Like if that had to happen, I reckon. So that's all right.
Oh, we forgot to mention before, but that was that's the very first time we've won in Cincy.
Really?
Yeah, there's a 9-3 record before today. Bizarre. We haven't beat them in fucking years. So anyway,
Well, as I said, like there was a couple of weird games this week where it's like, have they ever played? It's like Cincy and Philly. It's Buffalo, Seattle. You're like, what? Okay.
Yeah, but of the 12 games, we've had 2 draws.
Yes.
That's random.
I love that. I think we might have actually hit on that last week. It's like it could have been a tie because they don't play ever.
Yep.
Flog of the week, a.k.a. Old Mate No Mates. 2 very easy ones this week. Tyreek Stevenson, a.k.a. number 29 for Chicago. Damning footage.
It's not great.
To be taunting and talking shit to the fans on the field while the final play is actually happening.
Yep.
And then realizing, going, fuck, wait. And then running kind of not knowing where you're meant to go, trying to figure out where you're meant to go. And then you're the one who kind of tips the ball up and over the back to the dude that you're meant to be covering.
Yeah.
It's just like the absolute clusterfuck of in your face. Like, it's absolutely incredible. Like, you couldn't, like, if you'd scripted it, you'd be laughed at. Like, not all of that would happen to the one dude. And then he's kind of weird, shitty apology of like, I'm going to learn for this. I don't know if you're going to get a chance, buddy. Like, learn Chinese. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just fucking weird. He fucked it up so strange. Royally that it's just hilarious. So, and then the other one's Nick Bosa. What a fucking pussy. Like, popping off with the MAGA hat. Do your thing. That's fine. If you're going to stand by your beliefs and like do your thing, do your thing. But then to like steal your teammate's moment just because somebody else is being fucking interviewed and you pop in there just fucking flashing your dipshit hat, like then you fucking realize that you're fucked up and you're an idiot. And so when the mics are in your face, you go, oh, I don't want to answer any questions about that. And you've changed your hat because you're a fucking giant pussy. Blow it out your ass, Nick Bosa. You're a fucking idiot.
That's fair. I've got nothing to argue with you on that one.
Because like my favorite one is like, oh, stick to sports. Like Colin Kaepernick fucking very, very, very eloquently, time after time after time, expressed his political position for kneeling. Yeah. And like would always explain his like position in the media and shit like that. And Bosa fucking bitched out. It's hilarious. What a fucking pussy. Anyway. Outback Takehouse. It's Tuesday, guys. We've already had, what was the Tuesday special on NBA Straya? I think it was deep fried echidna. That's right. It comes with its own little serving sticks. Bloody delicious. And it's only at Outback. And today's flame grilled take is, if the Lions can upgrade even a little on the defense, they're winning the NFC. Only at Outback. They're so good, Gaz. I almost messaged you like the Pats won. I'm like, but can I have an NFC team? Like, I want an NFC team. Like, and they're the Detroit Lions because they're just fucking amazing. I love them. I love them.
The personality is great.
They're so much fun. It's all the Dan Camp. I'm like, I'm all in. I love them. Anyway.
Yeah, look, I don't even know. They don't even need it, but it would help. And what I mean by that is there aren't that many NFC teams who can stay it out with them, who've got the weapons, who've got the firepower to keep going. Maybe San Fran when they get everyone back. But, mate, putting up fucking 30, 40 points consistently. I know Minnesota went hard with them, but that was they played their guts out to do that. So the Lions just feel like at any moment, like when peak KC, at any moment, they just put the foot down and then all of a sudden it's 21 points. You know,
it's awesome.
Fucking win. Yeah.
Little Aussie Battler of the Week, the Aussie Spotlight, very easy. We had a bit of Daniel Falalele, which was pretty fun in that Ravens game. Thought he did a pretty good job at times too, which is like one of those nice ones. You're like, yes, come on, just needed to be a little bit better. But obviously a lot of the kickers, well, the punters, Torrey Taylor out there, he's had, in that Washington game, 7 punts. It was an absurd game. So his longest was 68, which is pretty gnarly.
That's wild.
Very, very cool. He is a fucking weapon, and I love him. Oh. So, yeah, to be honest, my NFC teams might be Detroit and Chicago, which I don't think I'm allowed to do because they're in the same division. But like the one with the Aussie, that feels like pretty good too. Like every time he kicks the ball, I'm like, yes, mate. You just want to go woof. But it's pretty good. Jordan Mailata, as we sort of mentioned, he's on the IR, so fingers crossed he's back in a month or so.
Yeah. It's just holding on for dear life at the moment.
Captain Fantasy. So I copped a loss this week. Gaz got beaten by White Bronco in the Sky, which is still one of the great OJ references. And it is Toddy P, which is always good. How did you go, Garrington?
I beat my mate Josh this week, so that's great. He was not happy about leaving Baker on the sidelines and on the bench and playing Jordan Love.
You only just snuck by him too, so
yeah,
bit of a rough one. But yeah, I think it's one of those crap ones where my score wasn't too bad in this league, but Drake London was a big letdown for me this week. Mark Andrews was very handy. I had the Denver defense and them giving up that last fucking thing to Carolina. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart. I did roll the dice on just keeping Jaden Daniels in there, and it felt like a pretty dumb decision early on, but then he came good, obviously, and had a fucking Hail Mary, which is pretty sick. Outside of that, some of the big performers, did we want to hit on any of these from this week as well?
Well, we got all the tight ends. Fuck, we even got Pitts had 2.
So
Otten had 2.
In terms of the biggest sort of scorers, we got the Cedric Tillman just ended up crushing it, which is pretty fun. But everybody, we had Jalen Hurts at 35 because he kept stealing fucking Saquon's touchdown. CD Lamb was just an absolute target monster, ended up with 33. Bo Nix. So he was the one that I picked up to replace Jaden Daniels if I wanted to. And guess what he scored? It was 29. That was more than Jaden Daniels. God, bloody hell. Anyway, James Cook, 26.8. Ladd McConkey was actually the dude who was really, really good for the Chargers. He had 26.8, 26.1. And outside of that, as I mentioned, Tillman, 25.4. Josh Jacobs ran right over the top of the Jags. He had 25. Cade Otton, one of those tight ends, he had 2 touchdowns, 24.6. And Baker had the 24 obviously on Josh's bench, was pretty funny. So, but a lot of QBs scoring pretty well this week. Very handy stuff. And the Legends League, as usual, I think we even had a mention about this in the group chat about how tight it is. It's 5-2 at the top.
Yep.
And then 3-4 down at 10.
Yep.
With Rogers that, nowhere to go. We're butt up at 1-6, but they're a bit shit. What are you going to do? But there you go. Good stuff for fantasy.
Awesome. Keeps me alive during these during the winter months and leading into summer. It's good.
Let's do some week 9 picks, however.
Oof.
So
there's a couple of games in here that I don't fucking like, Jim.
Turns out you're now leading me in by 10, Gaz. Picked
Picked
up another 3 this week.
Might take a couple of weeks off, Jim. See what happens.
A lot of beers. Yeah, you can just match me from here right out and just go, Jim, you owe me 10 beers. Sucked in. But still, this is what I get for galaxy branding myself. I should never change picks. Simple as that. We start off with Houston and the Jets. Look, this is the biggest problem with the Jets thing. They're like, Aaron Rodgers, the Jets will be good this year. And then the Jets are shit. And they've got all these, they are front-loaded at least for their primetime schedule, but there's fucking heaps of them. It sucks. But the Jets are only a half-point favorite, which I found pretty weird. They are at home, but they're also not very good.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. As we said, Houston play fucky games.
It's actually gone to 1.5 now too, literally since I wrote that down in the Sabo. So, yeah.
The Jets are a bit of a fucking train wreck. I just fucking know.
But we're both going Houston. There you go. Patriots at Tennessee. The Titans are somehow 3.5-point favorites against the Pats. And the Pats aren't good, but the Titans are fucking horrible. So this screams
take
to
your
me,
Drake May, your May over Rudolph.
I feel like this might be the Tennessee 20-17 win. The Pats, though, the 3.5 is the key. So we'll take that half point, I reckon.
Yeah, Pats as well.
Carolina hosting the New Orleans Saints. This is a 7.5-point line with Carolina as a home underdog. Now, you mentioned the idea of David Derek Carr maybe being back, which is why that line...
I'm not 7.5 points to Spencer Rattler is
you wouldn't
a fucking lot, and you take Carolina every day of the fucking week, right? But yeah, if David Derek Carr comes back, well, then that's in an instant swap to New Orleans, right?
Yeah, I think my initial pick is New Orleans almost anyway-ish, but if David Derek Carr, it's a lock. If not, yeah, it's Carolina in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because I think, look, they're division rivals. They're always going to be playing each other weirdly and funkily. Like, even if Carolina are absolutely a train wreck, just nice to see Bryce Young back out there, the little fella. But they might bring Andy Dalton back because what did he hurt? His thumb or something in the car crash? It was like his left thumb. But either way, New Orleans for me. Denver, Baltimore, another weird one. This is a 9.5-point line. And there is like this weird thing this year. If you bet against the biggest favorite of each week, you'd be fucking laughing because I think it's now 6-2 so far this season. So Baltimore, 9.5-point favorites at home against a Broncos team that have looked feisty. The thing is, I feel like a lot of the feistiness has been at home for Denver, right?
Yes. Look, I think with Baltimore, this could be the one where they're like, oh, well, that Browns game was embarrassing. We're going to come and kick the fucking shit out of someone, and you're just in the way. But also, I can just see that Denver defense making it a little bit squirrely and Peyton doing just enough to keep it respectable and staying within that 9.5.
I think Baltimore smash them. They've beaten the Saints and the Panthers the last 2 weeks, and those two teams are shit out.
Yes. Yep.
The game before that, they lost to the Chargers 23-16, which I feel like is a much more indicative kind of performance from Denver. That was at home as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore. Cincy host the Raiders. The Raiders. This is we need to win this or we're fucked for Cincy. So I think Cincy smash them. If they have T. Higgins back, they are laughing. Cleveland host the Chargers. Cleveland are 1.5-point underdogs. I'm going to see if that's changed at all as well. No, it hasn't. Do I dare go against Jameis Winston 2 weeks in a row here, Gaz? I don't think I can.
Okay.
I don't think I can. I believe. I'm going to start quoting Eminem. It's going to be awesome. Using the quotes wrong. But look, the Chargers were really, really good. But can I put a little bit of stock in how much this locker room might now suddenly actually fucking care?
Yeah, that's potential.
Like, just imagine being on the defense of that team going, fuck, I hate Deshaun Watson. He's so shit. No matter what we do, he's going to fuck up and it's going to suck. We're going to look like assholes. And now you got Jameis going, we're 8 wins, boys, and crab legs. And you're like, all right, Jameis, settle down. And then you're getting after the Chargers. Like, we know the Chargers are a bit weird and wonky on the road anyway, so fuck it. Cleveland plus 1.5. I just don't want to go against Jameis. It's simple as that. That's one of my rules now. Don't go against Jameis Winston. You've gone the Chargers, though.
I have gone the Chargers. If we remember at the beginning of this season, when they started to make this kind of okay, they built it around the kind of their defense first and then kind of built an offensive game. And what do we know about Jameis in terms of all of his fucking seasons? Is that he will throw interceptions as much as he throws touchdowns, Jim.
He really will.
So, look, I think in terms of if the defense can not be caught off guard, like clearly Baltimore were, this could be, they could go all right here. And, Chargers will, I'm just, going to give this one to the Chargers.
All right. Miami at Buffalo. Weird one. 6.5-point line for Buffalo. I've gone Buffalo. You've gone Miami. I think Buffalo are rounding right into form, and that offense at home will be much too good for this Miami team that kind of looked shit with Tua at the start of the year. Tua's now been out for like 6 weeks, and they then fell apart this week. So I'm going to go Buffalo. Yeah,
I've already thought I was a toss up before, and I think look at the beginning of the season we were like, we always know how this rivalry plays out. That Miami wins if they play at home early in the season, and then when it starts to get cold, they end up back in Buffalo, and it's the opposite. Well, Buffalo came in, and I'm pretty sure they won pretty handily. If my memory is correct. So, Buffalo will be fine.
Giants, Washington, NFC East battle. We're both gone Washington. Giants are 3.5-point underdogs at home.
Only 3.5.
Which is maybe still more of a Jaden Daniels question for the Commanders, but they should still
and
beat
also
the
these guys play squirrely, like the NFC East games. But still, I think that they should take care of them. And there's the Giants season over, and then Dayball gets sacked 2 weeks later.
Ozempic Dayball. Atlanta, 2.5-point favorites against the Dallas Cowboys. This one sucks to pick because I'm leaning towards Dallas, but because it's only 2.5, I still just want to take Atlanta because just that offense is still good.
Yep.
And that Dallas defense is still checks notes bad. So I'm going Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Atlanta wagon because also, if for nothing else, that if Dallas manages to lose the next 2 games, that's season over.
True. Arizona host Chicago. This one's really tough as well because I feel like my initial thought was a 0.5-point favorites are the home cards. Over Chicago, they should be fine, but the Chicago defense is that good, I reckon, that I'm just going to sort of stick with the Bears. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bears in this one. Arizona, they squeak these games out, but none of it is super confident. That Bears defense is pretty fucking good, as you highlighted before. So yeah, and I mean it's pretty much an even game. So I'm just gonna stick it out with Chicago.
Nice. We have Jacksonville at Philly. Philly 7.5-point favorites at home. The Dougie P revenge game, guys. Can he pull it off? We both say no, and we've gone Philly.
Yeah. Look, I'm hoping that this trend, the recent trend, keeps going. That offense is clicking now. At defense is tightening up, particularly in the past game where Jacksonville apparently injury riddled. We'll see what happens later in the week. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Philly for this one.
It was Jacksonville who like tackled somebody this week and like twisted. Was it? Oh wait.
No, it was against the Chargers. They took to take down Herbs.
They took down
and
Herbs
it was almost like the gator
knee.
tackle. Like they grabbed him around the foot and went to roll, and the lineman jumped on him. The offensive lineman fucking nearly ripped his face off.
Yeah, dog act. That should have been another shit bloke of the week right there.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, this is it, Jacksonville and the run defense, like they're bottom 4. So I think you guys will be right in that one. So I think it's another smashing. Seattle hosts the Rams. I don't trust the Seattle defense at the moment, so I'm going to go the Rams. It's only a 0.5-point favorite are the Rams on the road. Always a bit weird. In Seattle, I mean, 2 weeks ago they beat Atlanta, but if the Rams can get any pressure on Geno, pack her up, boys, you're done, right? And the Seattle flip side, the Seattle defense, just don't know if they can shut down Stafford and Cooper, Kupp and Puka Nacua. So, yeah, go on the Rams.
Yeah, the same.
We're both going Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay 3.5-point underdogs. I just don't trust the Green Bay defense to slow down Detroit either.
And considering the question marks over who is even playing at quarterback for Green Bay, 3.5 points seems light.
Yep.
So I'm taking Detroit.
F&A, Cotton, F&A. Detroit. Look, it's one of the 3 games, wasn't it, that they play outside?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is like what? It's Halloween. It could be cold, but it won't be that cold. Yep. Indy, Minnesota. The Vikings, 5.5-point favorites at home against Indy. I'm going to go Minnesota as well, just because I don't trust Anthony Richardson as far as I can throw him, which is not very far because he's a substantially large human.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm all the time and respect in the world for Shane Steichen, but fuck, that's Minnesota team we think is legit. Could be a get right game after two losses in a row, and see how we go.
And Brian Flores loves a blitz. So if you're throwing blitzes at Anthony Richardson, he's either going to scramble away or he's just going to make another horrible throw. So here we go. Then we finish up with Kansas City hosting Tampa Bay. Kansas City are 8.5-point favorites. I am taking Kansas City despite them not usually doing the whole thing of covering big lines. But Tampa Bay, I think the arse is about to fall out of that team.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the Baker effect, playing their Super Bowl right? Going, all right, this is the team that we've got to show up for. Fuck the injuries. And they just keep it, and they get, Kansas City to play a similar, closer game than they would like they did against the Raiders, and just cover the line. I think they'll win. They'll just do what they do, but 8.5 points, I'm hoping they get under that.
It is a bit janky. There's always that sort of backdoor cover, which is going to be a pain in the ass. But I did want to point out that Washington Giants didn't have a line on the actual betting app that I was looking at earlier, but it had like the head-to-head odds. And I'm like, that's probably about 3.5. And then I was looking at this now, didn't even click that I'd actually just sort of chuck that in there as a guess. And it's 3.5. It's almost like this is a job or something, Gaz. I don't know.
Like you fucking, yeah.
Yeah, it's my job, but you're still kicking my ass in it, so whatever. The buys this week are Pittsburgh and the Niners too. So good stuff.
There you go.
That's it. Episode 108 of NFL Straya in the bag, though. We're going to let Gaz go piss off and go to his conference and gallivant around the hoity-toity hoi polloi.
Yeah, I've got to wear a suit, Jim.
Gross. Who'd wear a suit?
One of those for years.
Not going to a wedding.
No.
Anyway, get around NFL Straya. You can see all the videos and stuff that we do throughout the week as well. Social boy Leo does a great job of making me do them. So I then tape them and he puts them up. So that's good.
Nice.
So don't yell at me, yell at him. It's very fun. Anyway, thank us for rating and review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, and of course, jump on the YouTube, subscribe, hit the little fucking bell button so you get a notification every time we drop something on there. There'll be shorts, there's all the other stuff. Get around us on TikTok as well. Plenty of videos going up on TikTok. And get around NBA Show, of course. The AFLW Today Show, Cricket Today Podcast, Football Today Podcast, and the Spring Racing Carnival. So you should be listening to Hold All Tickets, which is about your GGs, which is good. What else is there? Make sure you subscribe on all your podcast apps as well, your Apple Podcast, Spotify, etc. Leave a comment, review it. 5 stars. Just go, yep, on yours. Thanks heaps. And go from there. Or
chuck us a message like the guy did. I haven't logged into my Insta on I don't have my phone on me. But someone chucked us a DM this week saying, love listening to the podcast, Jim. And not to Jim, but to the boys, and that I think that we're a little bit cleverer than we let on, Jim.
What?
We know more than we let on.
What?
No, we've got to keep this. Let's keep this bar pretty fucking low, right? Let's temper these expectations.
We do not know shit. So yeah, we're idiots.
That's
it.
Fantastic.
I think isn't our tag as Australia's least informed, most fun NFL show? I think that's it, which is bang on.
Yeah.
All right. Either way, big thanks go to House Hats for the intro and outro song. They rule. And get around, obviously, all the other shows I mentioned. Guys, you got any plugs?
Nah, just this. This is all I do. Go to conferences, this. Not even running at the moment. Going to plan my next marathon for next year, but I'm just launching into the summer, mate.
Sounds good.
Right.
Summer of Gaz. It's going to be awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, there you go. That is 108. We're done. We are heading into the halfway mark of the season as well. This will be the halfway mark next week. Might do some halfway awards. Sounds good. We'll probably half-ass it, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right. Either way, we'll catch you in a bit, you dickheads.
See yous.
Later, hosen.